I started being very, very, very interested in understanding human nature. And my path to that was literature. I was a bookworm, and I was so curious that I wanted to understand everything about everybody. Um, I got my first bachelor's in literature and linguistics. Then got my second bachelor in psychology, but this was many years after. Then, after my first bachelor's, I got my master's in linguistics and literature. And then I was traveling all over the world. I was working as a spontaneous interpreter with United Nations. I worked with Red Cross, Red Crescent, and I was in about 10 years of combat zone with our military men and women, helping them in every way I could, working with the medics, and even on motorcycles delivering food and medication to the tens of men, women, and kids who were negatively impacted by war in war zones. I traveled a lot. I lived and taught in Berlin, Paris, Siena, Firenze. I've lived in London. I've lived in so many places, and I've learned from different people. That has added and enriched my cultural experience. And I was teaching literature when my students started coming to me and talking about their life experiences. And I was able to help them, not having taken one unit in psychology. And one day the dean actually asked me to his office and said, "You understand that you're not a psychologist?" I said, "I'm fully aware of it." He said, "So why are these people lining at your office?" I said, "What do you want me to do? To shoot them?" They're there because they find help. So that conversation, and my students keep coming to me, even though I was begging them, "Please go to the school psychologist." They would come back to me. That initiated this desire in me to actually get degrees and be able to help people as a counselor. So I got my second master's degree in clinical psychology and research. The third one was clinical psychology in practice, and then I went for my Ph.D. in clinical psychology and research and practice, and I became a psychologist. It's about changing your perspective. That's how I got all these results. When I worked for a few decades at community mental health systems, what I found was a revolving door. A revolving door like Hotel California that you can check out whenever you want, but you can never leave. So, I'm a drummer and I play the guitar. So, and that was hurting me because I didn't like that. And I remember years ago when I got employed by a agency, community mental health agency. I was at a one of these meetings, staff meetings, and I started talking about how we can actually get numbers up in people who leave the system and are cured and healed. When the outpatient manager looked at me and said, "You've got it wrong. We're not here for healing and recovery. People who are diagnosed with mental illness are not going to be cured. What we do is symptom management." And I knew I was in the wrong place. But I worked and worked and worked and got a lot of success. And what I was doing actually helped people heal, helped people change their perspective and understand that what we're talking about is not mental illness, but mental fitness. So the whole concept was changing when I was talking with my clients. It was not about, "Oh, there's something wrong with you." And see, if you believe that there's something wrong with you, now you're subscribing to a lifetime of taking medication. And each medication, Dr. Melody, Each medication will have side effects. What are the difference between side effects and other effects of a drug? None. It's just a psychological game they're playing with you. Side effects are the effects of the medication that are not desirable, but you might get them, right? So instead of putting the mental illness idea as something real which exists inside of you, I'm not saying pain and suffering does not exist. They all exist. But if you put the source of it inside of you as an illness, what you're going to do with it? Take medication until you die, right? To symptom manage, right? Now, change that perspective and look at life as a gym. It's a gym. It's a gym for your fitness. Now, when you look at it, have you ever gone to the gym and kicked the dumbbell or the weight that you can't pick up and say, "You, why did you happen to me?" Stop it. Do we do that? Spit on it? Do we do that? No. But in life, when shit happens, when we are what we call traumatized, then the question is always, why me? Why did this happen? But if you change perspective and look at life as a gym, understand that you're here to train your soul, train your emotions, train your mind, and train your body, and train your emotions in a way not to take things personally, to look at every hurdle, every experience as a good thing that life is offering to you, because life wants you stronger. And I believe my mission in life is to help people understand that, one, if you take one drop of an ocean, do we have all the characteristics of the ocean? Chemical ingredients of ocean. Yes, we do. Is it the same amount? No. So the quantity is just one drop. But the quality, we actually possess all the qualities of the ocean. Now, if you look at ourselves as particles, drops of this ocean of creation, now you will believe that rather than believing in mental illness, you will believe that you're godlike. You have the power of manifestation. You have the power of attracting into your life whatever you set your beautiful mind on. So that change of perspective changed the lives of so many of my clients that at County of Santa Clara, they called me the miracle worker. So people would call and say, "Oh, can I have an appointment with a miracle worker?" And they knew that it was me. And I never accepted that I'm a miracle worker. I'm not. We can only be miracle workers for ourselves. What I was a reminder for them that they were their own miracle workers, that they can change their lives. The whole thing is for them. See, I talk with my clients and talk with my staff and talk with my friends, talk with my only daughter about the damaging impact of putting yourself in victim positioning. Talking about the hardship that happens in life as if it's a bad thing, as if it's others who did that to you. Look at, for example, you get cold. Imagine I'm out with Catherine and she has a bad cold and she's coughing. As soon as I start being afraid that, oh my God, she's going to give me that virus or bacteria, what I'm doing really with my mindset, I'm bringing down the ability of my immune system to strongly defend me and kick that virus out. So instead of saying, and if I get it, it's because I haven't prepared my immune system to be strong enough to defend me. But usually we say, oh, she gave me that cold. He's a bad cat. I'm going to fire you. So, look, the whole idea here is victim positioning of myself. Because instead of saying that, why I'm not preparing, if if I pick this up and if this is a 20-pounder and I drop it, it's not that bad dumbbell, bad weight. It's that, oh my God, I haven't trained my muscles to pick that up. We talked about hormetic stress. Hormetic stress is a stress that is good for you. So, if you don't know your bones, are they going to grow? No. The doctor? No. There we go. We have another doctor there. So, if you don't tear muscles, will they grow? No. Thank you. So, why do we think if we expect life to be easy, expect relationships to be easy, expect not ever experience anything unpleasant or distressing in our lives, how do we expect that we become strong, resilient, go-getter heroes in our lives? And that's how I work with people. That's how I have managed to talk about life as a gym. And there is another thing that you've been lied to. You've been lied to that you are really small beings with limited powers. That you're chicken. You're not chicken. You're eagle. Open your arms. Look at your arms. And then exercise your arms. And then you're going to see that you can fly high. But as long as you believe that your poor little victim chicken that is going to be slaughtered and is trapped in this cage, what you're going to do? What does a little chickie do? Eat and do number 1 and number 2 there. And be so proud of it that they can't even move. Right? And chickies don't fly. Right? But as soon as you see, when I tell people, you're not a chicken, you're an eagle. Say, look, You do. But you've got to empower them. You've got to empower them so that they can fly. So if you stay away from looking at trauma as bad, you're already a winner. And if you think that the dumbbell or the weight that you have a hard time picking up is bad, mean, vicious, and meant to hurt you, look at life problems, experiences that you don't like or don't want or don't welcome to experience as bad. So one of the biggest lies that have been told to you is that trauma is bad. What works and how I was able to work with 37 people diagnosed with severe schizophrenia. 2005, 5 years, all 37 of them off medication, off social disability, back to society, in relationship, out of Section 8 housing. Wow. Thank you. And you know what? They deserve this applause because they did it. And I start taking them out. We start creating, opportunities for them to exercise their spiritual muscles, their emotional muscles, dare to go out, socialize, experience otherness, experience that it's all right. Some of them to this day hear voices, but now they know that voices are reflections of whatever they've experienced in life, or are the repetition of the criticism that they've received from parents or third grade school teacher. But they don't need to actually dictate their life to them. And medication is the same thing. When you put a person on antipsychotics, if it's a lot of it, the person turns into a zombie. So they're drooling, they're not even doing anything. And when I started working with these people, most of them were telling me that they are sleeping for over 20 hours a day. Yeah. Would you call that a life? No. Do you see? And they were getting a lot of problems as a side effect of the antipsychotics they were. They were on 5 medication and up, usually 1 or 2 SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, which does not make you happy, which actually keeps you numb. A benzodiazepine, which is a muscle relaxant, will turn you more like this, so you won't care. And then antipsychotics like Abilify, Zyprexa, Seroquel, which completely drains your synaptic gaps from dopamine. And most of them actually after a while will develop Parkinson's disease, which is a lack of dopamine in your synaptic gaps, right? So look at this, and most of them, because of the voices or delusions, couldn't sleep, so they were on sleep medication, like Lunesta. And this was the least number. Now go up. Yes, completely, thank you, yeah. So what happened? They started looking at themselves as people who can't fly, and then they flew. Now they're living in San Jose. None of them have ever done something that we don't do. They're working, they're in relationships. So that happened only because of this belief that we're not going to talk about mental illness, but mental fitness. Now, if you look at Blue Zone research, their series, they're fascinating. You're going to see that there are basically, philosophically, I think there are 3 things that is going to keep you happy, successful, and healthy. 1 is, please don't eat processed food. Stay away from processed food. Eat whole food. Whole food. The closer to the nature, the better off you're going to be. And I have people who say that, well, I don't have enough money to do that on paycheck. But you know, it's going to be way less expensive. Don't go to the aisles in food markets. On the periphery, pick up some good full fat yogurt, some eggs, monk fruit, a bunch of organic blueberries. Go home, add them a spoon or 2 spoonfuls of monk fruit with this, and add blueberries. That's great. That has protein. That is delicious. But then that's way less expensive than these little yogurts that you get with fruit on, which is really bad for you. Do you see? So when I talk about organic food, I'm talking about, I have nothing against medical doctors. I have nothing against drug companies, but I'm saying that some of them have gone wrong as a result of misinformation. So in our country, this is a little bit frightening. The 3 main leading causes of death. The first one, cardiovascular diseases. Second one, cancer. Third one, frightening. It's doctors, medical errors in diagnosing, in sending you to take this medication, that medication. Medical error is the 3rd cause of death in our country. And do you know how much we, in our country, we spend on healthcare? 4.9 trillion. I can't even imagine that much money. $4.9 trillion. And this is again sad that I'm going to say that our country leads in cardiovascular diseases in the world. It leads in type 2 diabetes. And actually consumers spend about 110 billion a year on medication for diabetes, which is not genetic. type 2 diabetes is about your lifestyle. So cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, and multiple chronic diseases in the single biome. Like one person having autoimmune problems, having type 2 diabetes, having this and that. And infant mortality, infants dying at birth, and maternal mortality. So we have moved away from nature that heals, nature, that is good for us, to processed food that is killing us. Now, when I talk about good nutrition, meaning eat whole food, okay, why do you think, for example, a lot of diets, these diets are talking about GOPs and enzyme that will keep you from eating, will give you the feeling of being full, right? You know that mimics an enzyme that our body actually secretes. And it secretes it when we have eaten nutrient-dense food. So, farm-raised chicken, eggs, farm-raised grass-fed beef, whole yogurt, all these things that are natural, they are nutrient-dense, meaning that when you eat them, like your body is going to secrete this enzyme that tells you that you're done eating. But when we eat food that is not nutrient-dense, like chips, like Skittles, like all these funny things that we eat, cereal, not nutrient-dense food. When you eat processed, it's all processed. When we eat them, the body doesn't register it as nutrition. It registers it as junk. Thank you. As junk. Thus, your hormone that tells you stop eating does not get secreted in your body. Do you see? So instead of putting yourself through all this pain of this and that, just if you eat nutrient-dense food, you're going to be fine. Now, it creates a lot of good signifiers for your mood. I'm talking about mental fitness, right? If you eat well, eat whole food, you're going to feel your mood is going to be better because you have a lot of dopamine saturation in your body. Your adrenal is going to work wonderfully. Your thyroid is going to work wonderfully. Your pituitary gland is going to order all the cells to function well, and they have to say yes, right? Because it's a master gland. Now, after whole food, we're going to talk about mobility. Move your body. For God's sake, please move your body. Walk. Lift heavy weight. Even if it's a couple of minutes in a day. Even if it is, instead of using the elevator, go up and down the stairs. Simple things. Just move your body and you're going to see how much better you're going to be. In Bluestone research, I was talking to Lisa yesterday about this. I saw that they did this amazing research and they were showing that in this part of the world, not very rich country, there are people in their 117, 120-year-old, but they're living happy lives, and they thought that what is it that they eat? They're not regular things, it's nothing, but it's whole food, right? But then they calculated that their health and longevity and life expectancy is directly proportional to the slopes that they're moving up and down on a daily basis. So in the morning they get up, they go up that hill to the flea market to pick up veggies and chicken and come back, make food, and then go up that hill, up to the church and have some socializing with people they love. They relate to some faith, some belief, and they come back. But the slope, right? And by the way, our country, again, unfortunately, ranks, I believe it was 2023, last statistics that I read, we rank 66 in the world on life expectancy. 66 is lower, it's below the countries and even tribes that don't have access to clean water. What's going on with us? And the last thing that is going to help you live long, be happy, be healthy, and be active is having a sense of communities, having a sense of purpose. We have been pushed in isolated islands in our country. It's all about self-preservation. It's all about me. We're forgetting that. Have you ever seen one finger says, well, what about me? You're just doing this to these? Have you ever seen, if I want to pick up this water, this handle? We don't do that. Why? Because this hand is not stupid. Recognizes that both hands are attached to this body and work as a whole. Look around. Please do look around. Look how many different faces. Tall, short, this color, that color, but all beautiful. And we are all particles of this ocean. We are all one. Interconnectivity of human beings has been forgotten because competition has been put forward. I'm going to make your dad go. So this hand is killing this hand. This hand actually is putting this hand down, and this one is stomping on it. Ricky, like, are you crazy? Yes. As soon as you forget that you are particles, that we are all connected, we are all one body, you're forgetting that. And you're going to do that. You're going to pull the other one back so that you're one. Okay? So, eat whole food, keep your body moving, and have sense of purpose, have sense of community. And I promise, as a country, as a nation, we're gonna be great. We can, every nation, if we go with that, we're gonna be great. We can. You have all the ingredients. Our nation is beautiful, amazing, caring, smart, competent. Don't forget we're one. So, simple things you can do. Simple things on a daily basis. You know how sauna is good? How walking bare feet and feeling the surface of earth is good for you? Actually, a lot of researchers believe that it will alkalize your body. All the bad things, including cancer, happen in acidic environment. Right? Simple things. So, to finish this, I'm going to talk about how I changed the way I talk about trauma as bad. Instead, talking about trauma as a good thing. That when it happens, it's a gift for you. And we talk about PTG, post-traumatic growth, rather than PTSD. And that's why I worked with 109 veterans in the last 2 years. Serious suicidal and homicidal ideations and some acts of it. All of them are out therapy, graduated, they're in relationships, they're mended the severed relationships with their past relationships, with their wives and husbands and children who would not talk with them anymore. And they're employed, they're not taking medication, they eat whole food, they go to the gym. And 3 of them actually started their own business, small business. So it's not that, it is in the perspective, because I talked about this large body of evidence is telling us that the natural outcome of trauma, what is trauma? Trauma is an undesirable, unpleasant experience that we thought that we didn't ask for, what happens to us, right? So the natural outcome of traumatic experiences is growth. Over 70% of people going through traumatic events, they come out with growth, with PTG. And how does it translate into our lives after going trauma? When you look at it, not as a result of why this happened to me, or for me, rather than thinking that this was a gift from the universe. If I'm your trainer and I say, hey, kid, can you do like 20 of these? It's good for you. She can say, oh, fucking bitch. Or throw that away at me. And why are you giving me this? This is too much. Or she said, oh my God, she likes me. Look at her beautiful muscle. So we go back to the same idea. If you don't load a bone, it's not going to grow. If you don't tear a muscle, it's not going to grow. If you don't go through hardship and difficulty in life, you emotionally, spiritually, intellectually are not going to grow. Now, what are some of the expressions of PTG? People who have gone through trauma and developed PTG, who is over 70% just naturally. Then the rest of them is going without treatment, just not telling them that this was bad. The society says trauma is bad. I'm so sorry you went through it. If you change that mentality, 6 to 16 months not treated, they're going to be okay. Only 5% might need a person like me who would help them change perspective. How does it express itself, PTG, post-traumatic growth? 1, a greater sense of self. You're going to be more confident. You're going to be more resilient. You're going to actually have a greater sense of identity. I believe, this is my personal belief, that what defines a person is what that person is willing to die for. But that's my personal belief. So people will define themselves in different ways. 2, they're going to have better relationships. If they are in a bad relationship, they're going to have a good sense of protecting themselves and get out of that danger zone. They're going to be able to mend relationships that have been severed. And the third way of expression of PTG is a greater sense of meaning to life. Why are we here? What are we doing in here? And do we want to be sheep? Do we want to be chickies? Do we want to be high-flying eagles, flying high, being able to experience life and welcoming whatever life puts in front of you, and welcome it and be more grateful if it's difficult? Because life knows you can do it. You can take it, and life wants to build you. I am here to answer any questions you might have. Thank you for listening.